A peacekeeping mission in Ukraine is a key element of the British Prime Minister's plan. After concluding a peace agreement with Russia, European states pledged to send their troops to Ukraine to ensure the implementation of the agreements, and the US should be ready to attack if the Russian Federation breaks the agreement, the Telegraph writes. According to the publication sources, Keir Starmer plans to appeal to President Trump with a proposal to keep American fighter jets and missiles in Europe on alert to strike an aggressor if necessary.
The backstop could include U.S. fighter jets stationed in Romania and Poland, ready to respond to any future Russian aggression. A much larger multinational land force could also be based on NATO's eastern borders to move in if necessary to protect European troops inside Ukraine. From the Telegraph publication,
the UK's plan was backed by France. It was discussed by European leaders at a meeting in Paris. However, Washington has not yet announced its intentions to take part in the peacekeeping mission. On the contrary, Donald Trump's administration insists Europe should play a more active role in the issue of providing security guarantees to Ukraine.
I just got off the phone with my counterparts from the UK, France, and Germany and said, look, we welcome Europe stepping in and offering security guarantees. We've been asking for years for Europe to step up and contribute more to not only their own defense, but Ukraine's defense. Michael Waltz, United States National Security Advisor, in an interview with Fox News.
The president of France will also travel to the United States in the coming days, said Minister Delegate for European Affairs Benjamin Haddad.
He will come to speak for the Europeans and say that the future of Ukraine cannot be decided without them. Benjamin Haddad, Minister Delegate for European Affairs from Le Figaro publication.
France and its allies are firmly committed to ensuring strong and lasting peace in Ukraine, Emmanuel Macron said following the meeting of European leaders in Paris.
We stand with Ukraine and will take full responsibility to ensure peace and security in Europe. This is the fundamental interest of France, and I am its guarantor. Emmanuel Macron, President of France, on X social network.
According to the Washington Post, Kyiv's partners are ready to provide several brigades for potential deployment in Ukraine. At the same time, it is not expected that the peacekeepers will be on the contact line. They must be prepared to show force if Russian troops try to resume the war against Ukraine. The mission plans to involve aviation, drones, satellites, as well as maritime patrol ships in the Black Sea. All this should ensure the safety of commercial roads and contribute to the restoration of airspace for civil flights.
Under the Anglo-French plan, fewer than 30,000 European-led troops will be deployed to Ukrainian cities, ports, and other critical infrastructure sites, such as nuclear power stations, far away from the current front lines. Rather than stationing a much bigger force in the war-torn country, the mission will rely on technical monitoring, including intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance aircraft, drones, and satellites to provide a complete picture of what is going on. From the Telegraph publication,
the plans of Kyiv partners to station peacekeepers in Ukraine are categorically rejected in Russia. Putin spokesman Peskov called them unacceptable. According to him, the participation of military personnel from NATO countries in the mission poses a threat to the security of the Russian Federation. The Kremlin is following the statements of the Prime Minister of the United States, Peskov added. Reported by Alexander Zaslavets, Victoria Smirnova, UATV News. Ukraine does not need security guarantees from Russia, it needs protection from the aggressor, the president of Ukraine has said. When the terms of the peace agreement are discussed, then it will be possible to talk about what the Russian Federation owes to Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy emphasized. In the meantime, Kyiv needs quick decisions, in particular regarding security guarantees, and they depend only on the partners of Kyiv, the member states of NATO.
Our army is millions of millions. The financing for this army, the armor for this army, the anti-aircraft warfare, total air defense, a defense that neither the Russians nor the Europeans have, the defense that the Americans, President Trump, have exclusively. The protection of anti-aircraft warfare is exclusively from them, and that's what's important. And the contingent from those countries who are able for some time, I do not know, for some time to stand in our cities, on our cordons, on the contact lines.
United States Special Envoy for Ukraine and Russia Kit Kellogg has repeatedly stated the need to provide Kyiv with reliable security guarantees. One of the goals of his visit to Ukraine is to hear the arguments of the Ukrainian side and to convey information to the President of the United States.
We understand the need for security guarantees. We understand the guarantee that's the enforcement sovereignty of this nation and the defense of this nation as well. And we're going to report of my missions to sit and listen and say, okay, what are your concerns? Where are we at? We can go back to the United States, talk to President Trump, and with Secretary Rubio and the rest of the team, and just ensure that we get this one right.
Russia continues to use information manipulation and seeks to sow discord among our country's partners. Therefore, it is important to adhere to the principle of nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine, which remains key in all international negotiations. From a publication on the website of the Office of the President of Ukraine,
Europe is ready to provide Ukraine with security guarantees even if the United States falls to the same, the President of the European Parliament, Roberta Metsola, has said. The European Union has already mobilized 48.5 billion euros in military aid to Kyiv and continues to strengthen Ukraine's defense capabilities. Metsola noted that the situation requires constant review and Brussels is ready to expand security guarantees for Kyiv.
So we have been delivering, but we must, of course, assess and be ready to step in with all the necessary security guarantees to ensure lasting peace. Roberta Metsola, President of the European Parliament, in an interview with Ukrainian media.
Russia's war against Ukraine should not end on conditions that would allow the Russian Federation to further destabilize Europe, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Canada, Melanie Joly, has said. Canada stands ready to assist Ukraine in ensuring a lasting and sustainable peace.
We've had conversations with European allies at the EU. I've had conversations also in France. I've met with many European colleagues, and we've said we want to be part of these conversations regarding security guarantees. We want to be part of conversations linked to more Canadians being involved in protecting Ukraine.
One such security guarantee for Ukraine could be a peacekeeping mission that would include servicemen from Kyiv's partners countries. European leaders are actively discussing the possible mandate for this mission. Washington supports the idea of placing European peacekeepers on Ukrainian territory.
if the Europeans want to do it, that's fine. I'm totally in favor of it. If they want to do it, I think that would be great. I know France has mentioned it, others have mentioned it, UK has mentioned it. If we have a peace agreement, I think from Europe's point of view, we won't have to put troops there because, we're very far away. But having troops there would be fine. I wouldn't object to that at all.
The EU and the UK may send up to 30,000 peacekeepers to Ukraine, the Washington Post has estimated. According to the publication sources, Kyiv's partners are now ready to provide several brigades for potential deployment in Ukraine. At the same time, the peacekeepers are not expected to be on the line of contact. They should be ready for a show of force if Russian forces try to resume the war against Ukraine. Reported by Alexander Zaslavets, Victoria Smirnova, UATV News.